My name is Trevor Loudon.
Trevor Loudon is a guy from New Zealand. He's a dad who is concerned about the world.
I'm an activist, author and researcher from Christchurch, New Zealand.
He is the official commie hunter.
For 5 years I've been travelling to the United States to expose the greatest act of betrayal in modern history.
That old school communism that you saw with the USSR, it's not dead, it's alive and well, and it's not just in North Korea.
The United States, a country founded on the very principles of liberty and freedom, whose soldiers have shed blood.
Welcome back. That is from a documentary called The Enemy Within. And Trevor Loudon is going to be our guest here in just a couple of minutes on the show. I appreciate the opportunity to get him on here and talk about this. By the way, the movie's going to be showing out in Ellisville tomorrow night. We'll have all the details on that for you in just a few minutes. Glad you're back with us on the show. Lots to talk about this hour. We will have Missouri Senator Roy Blunt joining us in just a little while. We'll get his thoughts on that. And this weekend, we're going to have some beautiful weather, beautiful fall weather finally in St. Louis. It sounds like the folks out in St. Charles, the Taste of St. Charles is going to be going on. I'm going to have all the details on that. A couple of the folks that are helping put it on are going to be in the studio near the end of the hour with all the details, hopefully some samples of the food for us. I know Liz and I are looking forward to that. Even mentioned it to Church Dog down there. He's interested in that. It's all coming up right here on the Mark Cox Show, so I hope you can stay with us for the hour. Good. Let me get to our guest, Trevor Loudon, who's joining us right now on the phone, the author of The Enemies Within. Mr. Loudon, how are you?
Good. Thanks. It's great to be on. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming to Missouri, first of all, and for people in my audience who might not be familiar with your work, The Enemies Within. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, look, I've been writing books for some years, and my specialty is the radical side of American politics. Like I was the first guy, for instance, to connect the young Barack Obama to the Hawaiian communist Frank Marshall Davis, and also exposed Obama's communist green job czar, Van Jones, and Glenn Beck used that information to get him kicked out of the White House.
Right.
But the new book, the movie is basically The Enemies Within. It's dealing with the Marxist, Communist, and Muslim Brotherhood penetration of your Congress and Senate. And we say there's at least 100 members of your House, including Lacey Clay, by the way, who wouldn't have, and 20 members of your Senate who couldn't remotely have a chance of passing an FBI security clearance. They wouldn't be allowed to drive a school bus or sell you stamps at the post office, yet they're serving on the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, even the Intelligence Committee of the House of Representatives. And they are basically trashing your country and your Constitution every day, and you pay their salaries. Because there are no security checks in Congress whatsoever, not even to serve on the Intelligence Committee in the House.
Which we're about to have driven home to us should Hillary Clinton get elected, because she couldn't get hired as a dog catcher if it required a security clearance, but she's about to be handed the reins of the national security apparatus for the United States.
Well, look, that's exactly my point. You know, Hillary Clinton has extensive ties to the Russians, to the communist movements, to Muslim Brotherhood fronts on an international level. She would not be able to pass. She couldn't be a realtor. You know, she couldn't drive a school bus, but she may be the leading politician in the Western world because there are zero security checks on people like her. And we've seen how absolutely lax she is with security. We know that the FBI is saying now that up to 5 countries have probably access to email servers. So that means Russia, China, and Iran have access to all the emails she produced when she was Secretary of State. Yet she's still a serious contender for the presidency. You know, if she was an army sergeant, she'd be in jail now.
Yeah. And we've seen evidence of that in the past, haven't we? That's for sure. I know I see from the prologue in your book, you say that you're asked this quite often, that why, as a New Zealander, you're so interested in the internal politics of the U.S.?
Well, yeah, it's there's a number of reasons. One, I admire your Constitution tremendously, and anybody who loves liberty wants to see that preserved. It's a guiding light for all of us. But look, my little country, New Zealand, was almost invaded by the Japanese in World War II. They had the invasion currency printed, but it was because of the sacrifice of your fathers and uncles and grandfathers at the Coral Sea and Midway and Guadalcanal that we were saved. Now, we're looking at the Pacific now. The Chinese are moving through the Pacific. They're in Fiji, they're in Samoa, they're in the Cook Islands. They're already moving into our region. And you've just seen the Philippines flip from being an ally of the United States to an ally of China. If America continues to go down militarily and strategically like it is, my country becomes part of the Chinese empire.
Absolutely.
And I do not want that.
We're talking.
Every free country falls if America falls.
Trevor Loudon is our guest. He's the author of the book, The Enemies Within, and it's now out on DVD. He's going to be speaking tonight and showing the movie, or not tonight, tomorrow night, I apologize, out at the Peeler Foundation there on Clayton Road, 15,820 Clayton Road in Ellisville. Mr. Loudon, do you know, do people need to get tickets to show up for that tomorrow night?
No, I don't think so. No, you can just turn up.
And it's at
so
6:30.
Everybody, you don't have to agree with me to come along. That's for sure.
Yeah, 6:30 tomorrow night out at the Peeler Foundation. I'll mention that again. It's close to Clayton Road and Clarkson Road out there in Ellisville, just a little bit to east on Clayton Road. So just to give people an idea of where that is. You know, you mentioned in your book, and you just alluded to it a minute ago, that the universe abhors a vacuum. And if the 7 years of the Obama administration has proven one thing to us, it's that fact that in the Middle East, in these places where we've removed ourselves, where we've shown no leadership, no strength, our enemies have moved in and taken over. And you can't help but to draw the conclusion at some point that there's an intentionality about it.
Yeah, look, people say Obama is out of his depth. He doesn't understand foreign policy, etc. Look, if he was just stupid, would he not make a mistake in your favor once in a while?
Yeah, that's true.
Look. If Obama was, say, an agent of Russia, whose job was to gut your military and weaken your military alliances and help your enemies advance, Russia, China, and Iran, if he was trying to help all of them advance, what would he be doing differently than he is today?
That's a great question.
He would be doing nothing differently. He has helped your enemies on a major scale on every front, and at the same time, he has gutted your military to the weakest it has been since World War II. The Russians now have 3 times more nuclear weapons than you have. They have massively greater conventional forces. Their nuclear weapons are modern, up to date. Your nuclear weapons, the last one was made, I think, in 1992. They're already out of date. Their shelf life has expired, but that's all you've got. So no wonder you're having trouble in the Far East. No wonder you're having trouble with China. No wonder you're having trouble with Russia and Iran, because America is seen as weak, and your enemies are on the march. The Europeans are freaking out right now at realizing that Russia is basically going to dominate them because America can no longer defend them.
Yeah,
and that's why the Philippines flipped, because they cannot rely on America to defend them against China, so now they're going in with China. Well, what's they going to do to South Korea, to Japan, to Indonesia, to Taiwan? You'll see a whole domino effect if this isn't reversed very, very quickly.
Trevor Loudon, a whole lot of sense there. I appreciate you giving us some time today. We look forward to your visit here to the immediate St. Louis area. I know you've been traveling across Missouri. Again, I'll remind people, Pilar Foundation tomorrow night, 15820 Clayton Road in Ellisville at 6:30. You can see a screening of The Enemies Within.
And can I just tell people, if they want to get the movie online, just go to enemieswithinmovie.com. It's
Okay.
enemieswithinmovie.com, and they can see it there as well.
Very good.
Get it there. They can purchase copies of it there.
Trevor Loudon, it's an honor to speak with you. Thanks for your time.
Look, my pleasure. It was great any time. Thanks
All right.
very much.
Thank you very much. Very good. I could listen to his accent all day long, but what he was saying makes a whole lot of sense. What would this administration have done differently if it was an agent of a foreign government? What? Maybe nothing. When you look at the damage they've done around the world, that's for sure.